SAQA was formed in the late 80s, early 90s to help promote art quilts, to make it clear to people what it was, to encourage people to collect, to support artists who were in this new medium.
What brings us all together is this passion we have for fiber, this passion for stitching and layering. SAQA today is so different from the SAQA that was started in 1989, but there is that core thing that doesn't change, that just keeps, and it's that passion.
When I saw the art quilts, just incredibly high caliber of the quilts, this is the organization that I want to learn more about, I want to get involved in, I want to connect with these people. This is what I want to do.
I would have told you 3 or 4 years ago that I wasn't an artist at all. As a matter of fact, I didn't think I could draw a straight stick figure, but as I learned, I don't have to abide by the rules, that I can make what's up here come out down here, and I don't necessarily have to be able to draw it, because if I can create the shapes with fabric and make them play together well, then that's a way I can express myself.
So the Studio Art Quilt Associates was started in 1989 by Yvonne Porcella. She was a very successful, well-known art quilter in her time, and one of her goals was to create a professional organization, and again, it's the same mission of trying to elevate quilt art to be taken seriously. And so she felt that art quilters needed to have a professional organization to try to help bring about that change. And she wanted that sense of community. She wanted art quilters to have, the connections with other art quilters. They were all, trying to break the same barriers. And so, to bring them together and to have that community, was her original vision. And she foresaw us, having SAQA throughout all regions, all, the world. And, sure enough, 27 years later, we are global.
When I started in 2004, there were 804 members. We had a $75,000 budget. Almost all of the members were in the United States. We now have around 3,400 members. We're in, I believe, 36 countries on all the continents but Antarctica. And we have a budget of around $650,000. And 20% of our membership do not live in the United States. And that's a big change that I think parallels what's happening in the world at large, that we are becoming more and more a global community.
Over time, the organization became, more and more structured, established more governance. We've really come a long way as far as developing all of the infrastructure that's needed to handle an organization of our size.
When I started as a rep, the fact that I was sending an email around to our members and to other contacts that I'd made was astounding to a lot of the people that I was in contact with, like the local quilt shop owner. That was what impressed him, was that I knew how to use email. It's that technology shift that I think is the biggest change, and it's that growth in connectivity through the internet that has allowed the organization to grow. Prior to that, everything was by snail mail. And that's why I think we were stuck at only 804 members. It wasn't because people weren't making art quilts, it was because they couldn't connect.
SAQA is such a well-organized organization, and the organization does an amazing job of really serving its members. As an artist and as a quilt maker, my needs are really met. I have resources, they have information on the website that I can go and find out things. The exhibition opportunities just continue to grow. I mean, I have had the good fortune to have pieces in several of the traveling exhibits, and I send my quilt off and I know that Bill's going to take care of it, and it's going to go all the way around the world and then come back to me. And really I made the quilt, I submitted it, but all of those other things happened because of this organization. That, one of my quilts is in an opening in Canada coming up.
I think for me, one of the most important things that this organization does is that it gives its members a platform where they can be welcomed. We often hear people describing this as they found their community, their tribe, their peeps, and that they can be supportive in growing professionally and artistically, and that they can be connected with the world at large through their network with other members and through the extensive exhibition and publication program that we provide.
They just do an amazing job of promoting quilters and their art and the community that exists. And I think a lot of that comes from attending a conference. And if you can attend a conference, you should, because you get to meet a lot of people who you know their work, but you haven't had a chance to meet them. So you get to connect the artist with their work, and then you connect with them, and it's just a really good experience.
I joined SAQA somewhere in between 2009 2010, and I joined because it was an art quilt organization and for its national resources.
I joined SAQA because I live on the edge of the earth, on the edge of the North American continent, and there was nobody like me. And so I was looking for people like me, even if I had to reach out to them online.
Well, when I went to that meeting and I heard what SAQA do for the members and what is SAQA, was like a wow moment for me. I had no clue this existed before.
So I was a traditional quilt maker and living in Valdez, Alaska. I didn't even know art quilts existed.
I really wanted to connect with other serious fiber artists. That was very important to me.
I looked for national organizations that I felt would be well run and had a strong mission and that I was aligned with in terms of my philosophy as an artist, and SAQA seemed to fit the bill.
I wanted a bigger community, so I joined SAQA because there were more art quilters there and I would have more people to interact with.
I used to think I would just send my work out and my work was good enough that it would just stand on its own. And there's some truth to that if you are producing good work, but if you're not interacting personally with other people, you're missing other opportunities.
It's been good for me to see what other people are doing. It certainly informs my work and gives me a lot of education and opportunity in terms of exhibition and what to do, what not to do, and what to do from here on.
One of the biggest benefits is that it makes me think of myself as an artist. I'm a member of an artist organization, I'm a member of the professional organization, so I must be a professional artist.
I have had my work in several shows, and I think I should say this just for the 20th anniversary. I submitted a piece that was accepted to celebrate, it was called SAQA at 20, to celebrate 20 years of the organization. And it was the first time I'd applied. And so, it's like, yes, I got into a show. And then I think it was 3 or 4 years of applying to shows before I got into another SAQA exhibition. The competition's tough, but that's because the artists that are involved in this organization are good.
Well, it was just like opening up an entirely new world. In Ohio, we had a large regional show, but it was non-juried. And I was in a small group of art quilters that were kind of not accepted by the general traditional quilting group in Ohio. And that was stimulating. But when I hit Oregon, it was just, I was overwhelmed, and I had to have a little talk with myself and said, you don't have to do a quilt and apply to every show that's available. You have to control your own life, and it's been, so many opportunities. It's been wonderful.
I like trying things that other people haven't done, like I put a zipper in the middle of the quilt that worked and zipped and unzipped so that you saw another part of a quilt behind it. And I'd never seen that before in a quilt, and so that was hard work figuring out how to do that and have it quilted on both sides. But it was challenging, and I enjoyed doing that kind of a thing.
I've had great success with what I've done, but I'm getting bored with it. And I want to see, okay, how much further can I stretch this? What else can we do with this? And I'm fascinated just looking at buildings, the geometric shapes, the colors, all that you can do with that.
I do very realistic pieces. Texture is very important to me. It has to look exactly right, or I won't stop re-auditioning fabrics. I use a little bit of sparkle. I usually use some machine embroidery. I've made a couple of pieces for What's for Dinner in Houston, and those looked like you could eat the food off of them. So that's the kind of thing that I like to make, and I'm looking for other ways to kind of clarify my voice.
I'm often including botanical elements. I love the theme of growth, so leaves and flowers and trees and branches. And I also include some other personal symbols in my work regularly, often houses, stones, and a couple of new symbols that I'm including more regularly in my work now are bowls and ladders. So that's kind of where I'm at.
I think a lot about qualities of the body in my textile work, as well as loss and the fleeting quality of memory. All these things I look at.
I'm a little weird. As I said, I start very recent. I'm still experimenting with techniques, but most of the time I work with one-piece fabric. I paint or I discharge. I don't like a lot of piecing or something like this. And I am completely into nature themes.
So I like stretching things about as far, I like stretching a concept about as far as it will go. And SAQA encourages that, and I like that.
If you make really great art and you're telling a story that people want to hear, then I think the possibility is right there.